Get ready to break molds and blaze trails. Welcome to the Chelsey Holm podcast, your shortcuts to wellness, business, and growth with a twist. Let's flip the script and unlock your full potential together. From Netflix+Binge to breakthrough in business. Okay, do you ever have these days where you feel like everything is burning to the ground, or you didn't get anything done today, or everything is hard and it doesn't matter what you're doing, and you're like finding a challenge like at it in some point, like you're getting tripped up, whatever. Like, okay, now this has been my day today, and also I am familiar with myself in this, and I understand that when things don't go like I think they should, or I'm not growing at the rate that I want, or things just feel hard, like that puts me into a stress zone. And knowing that in a stress zone, I like to check out, I like to disassociate. I want like just to be like, I'm going back to bed. Not that I actually do that because I have kids, but I know that when that happens, I know what's happening, that I've put myself into, or I find myself in a stress response, and my response is to just check out, right? But like, what do you do when you just want to check out, but you've got big goals, right? And if you're like me and you've made some pretty big investments in your business that, you know, you have to pay off, right? Like, not in the investments as in it's paying me directly, right? But in the investments of like, I have invested in my skills, in my speed of growth, in systems, these kinds of things, right? And I have to pay those things off. So like, what do you do when you want to Netflix+Binge, but you gotta break through in your business and create the results, right? And so that's where I'm at today. So this is like real and raw with you guys, that this is my process like over the years, because I don't know how many years ago it was now, but I read Road Back to You about Enneagrams, and I'm a 3. Like, I'm a 3-wing 4, and in times of stress, 3s go into 6s where we want to check out and we don't want to do anything. And so this was really helpful for me to understand this about myself, because I used to just go into this stressed response, and then I would check out for like weeks at a time, and totally not follow through on anything, completely self-sabotage myself in so many different ways, primarily eating, and just ignoring everything, right? Not helpful, right? And also not practical when you're building a business. And had I looked at this through the lens of hormonal cycles as well, it would have been pretty big indicators that like, oh, your period's on the verge of coming soon, right? And serotonin levels dip during that time, during this time, and everything can feel really hard. And so anyway, so learning all of this about myself, learning how I'm motivated, learning just my style of like, what do I do in times of stress, learning all that stuff. Great book, really helpful for me. Okay, because what it allowed me to do is it gave me the freedom to recognize, or it gave me the ability to recognize in myself what was happening. But then it also gave me the permission I needed to be like, okay, energy not in a great place today, so I'm going to give myself a day, and then I'm going to get right back to it tomorrow. So it gave me time to have the space that I needed to check out, associate, whatever it was, right? But then it also gave me a timeline for like back to business. Now, here's the thing though. What do we do when we have big investments in our business, and we have to show up regardless of how we're feeling, right? And when we're very like customer forward, customer facing, right? Like we're talking to people all the time, and authenticity is a core value. We don't like faking things, right? Putting on a false sense of like everything is hunky-dory, right? How do we navigate these times? Okay, so here's what I've done. Okay, step back method. I was sharing about this in Instagram in my stories recently. I've been talking to people about it in DMs. I've used it to coach people multiple times. And it's really, really helpful because the step back method helps you to gain perspective, right? Big picture. But then it also gives you a realistic view of like actually what's going on. Because like when I get into these modes, I'm just like, I've like got nothing accomplished today. Like nothing is going my way. Nothing is going well. And when I practice the step back method, which is just stepping back and looking at the whole picture as a whole, like from morning till night, did I literally do nothing? Did I actually accomplish nothing? No. The answer is always no. I've always accomplished something, right? Whether that, on some days it's like, okay, I did the bare minimums today, or other days it's like, wow, okay, I actually did way more than I am giving myself credit for right now, right? Now, did it go like perfectly? No, but having that step back gives you the ability to recognize so much more that you're missing, right? And so feeling like down in the dumps today and like, like I don't want to show up in any capacity. Like, I feel like things are hard today, which is interesting because this is coming on the cusp of me shifting some beliefs around success. And it came to my attention that a belief that like a subconscious belief I've had driving things in my life, probably since forever, right, has been like, work hard to be successful. And I've recently identified this belief and challenged it and rewritten it to say success comes easy. Success comes with ease. And it's always interesting because when we challenge the way we think, a lot of things will come up for us and against us a lot of times, this resistance. And I've always said, you guys have heard me say this before, resistance is confirmation you're going in the right direction. And so actually now that I'm saying this out loud, it's like, oh, that makes sense. Like today's been pretty challenging because I'm going in a different direction right now. And of course I'm facing resistance, right? So funny when we have these ahas ourselves. So anyway, but then I was doing the step back today. And I was like, oh, look, okay, so I actually did the things that mattered today, right? Like, what are the things that mattered? I, set my day with my routine that I've really been loving and has really set the direction and the intention for every single day where, I'm starting the day in the Word. And then I'm, balancing my frequencies and also helping to support the beliefs, the positive emotions that I want to be in balance with, setting my intention of where I'm going by writing down my goals and my targets and the daily actions that I have, and keeping myself on track for the tasks that are most important that I need to do to get, in order to keep moving towards my goals, right? And so when I actually looked at today, I was like, oh, yep, I exercised, I fed myself, right? Because, there are days where it's just like, I've had way too much coffee and not enough food, right? Like it happens to all of us sometimes. I've gotten much better at this over the years because I know so much about protein and fueling our bodies, especially as women and all this, right? But anyway, like I did the things that mattered today. I coached inside Collab Coaching, and we had a great coaching session, and I spoke life into other women entrepreneurs in the online space through DMs. And like there were so many things that I did that were like most important things today.
Oh my gosh, I am so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're listening to this podcast. As you know, I believe that if you're not growing, you're dying. So you are in the right place to continue developing your growth mindset. If you have a business and you're an entrepreneur in any capacity, but especially in the social selling world, online and social media, but you're feeling stuck. You've created some level of success, but you can't seem to get past it. You're frustrated. You're feeling burnt out. You're starting to question yourself. You don't feel like you're fully stepping into who you are and how you want to build your business, then go check out my signature course, the Speed and Stability Playbook, and you're going to get timeless principles that are going to be funneled through your strengths so that you can show up and build your business exactly like you want and not how someone is telling you to, so that you can work on the mindset of becoming the person that already has the things that you're looking to create and being able to do that and generate that through any strategy that aligns with you. Go check that out now in the show notes. Now let's get back to the episode.
And so that is the power of the step back method, because it does give you that perspective, but then it also gives you that ability to see that, oh, you actually did get the important things done. And maybe not all of the important things, right? But at least some of them. And to stop throwing the baby out with the bathwater when, maybe you didn't accomplish some huge task or project you were working on, or, close a huge client or whatever. Like, you still got a lot accomplished today and you're still moving in the right direction. And I think that that's where we really have to spend our time. And because we can do so much mindset work too, that like we're getting completely caught up in our head and we're overthinking everything. And sometimes it's just a matter of, getting everything out on paper or through a podcast like this, where I even have these ahas as I'm talking out loud, right? Getting everything out so that we can actually not have that burden our thoughts, right? That's the same thing with closing the loops of unburdening our energy, because we're closing those cycles instead of continuing to think about it over and over. I just saw a reel the other day that someone was saying, like, okay, they decided to not do their homework for, instead they were going to watch the show and they were going to put off doing their homework until later and just say, oh, I forgot. But then they didn't actually get to enjoy their show because they were thinking about the fact that they hadn't done their homework yet and they still had to do their homework, right? And so that's what can happen when we can get so stuck in our heads of like, what's going on? What's wrong with me? Like, why am I feeling so down in the dumps today? Like, I've got so many things to be grateful for. But we can get totally caught up in that, and that expends energy too. And honestly, like, we have to expend energy, right? Why not do it in a way that supports our dreams and our vision and shows up today as if it's already accomplished tomorrow, right? That we're already that future version of ourselves. And, so it's interesting because this morning, as I'm doing, my balancing frequency audio work, and I'm like journaling, and I was writing out the positive emotions, and I was writing a prayer over my business. Right after that, I really felt like I just had so much clarity over the multipliers mastermind. And it's something that it came to me, like the original idea came to me, I don't know, maybe a month ago or more. And I just haven't really talked about it because, I don't know, I didn't have a ton of clarity then. Like I had the idea, and a lot of times I'll just run with ideas because, well, that's just what I do. Like, I'll run with them, and then we'll see like how they fit in later. And so I had ran with the creation of it, but didn't really have like the master plan for what it was going to be. Well, this morning I really felt like I had a lot of clarity on like, bringing affordable group coaching to women, but also giving them enough time and space to actually accomplish things and have enough data to do the pivots that they need to do. And, and so I had so much clarity on this multipliers mastermind, and the fact that like, and this came from collab coaching, which is that co-led mastermind that I do. And so it was kind of piggybacking off of that, just because this morning I was having, some of the people haven't been able to get on. And so I was having like more of like a one-on-one coaching with one of the clients in there. And I was like, here's the thing, like we buy these programs, right? You've probably joined masterminds yourself, and you get in there and there's just so much information. There's so many people. There's not a lot of one-on-one support that we really need. And so I was just like, I just had this clarity of like, okay, we need like an affordable group coaching mastermind that allows women the community, but also the one-on-one space and time that they need, but also puts enough skin in the game so that they're actually going to show up for themselves, right? And do the things. And so I was just like, $500 a month, right? Because most of the women that I work with make at least $500 a month, usually more like $1,000 or more a month. And so it's like, okay, so that's skin in the game, right? But it's not so much that it's like your whole paycheck, right? And then doing it for 12 months, and also, so it's like a monthly subscription thing, so you keep going for the whole 12 months, but you're in this, within the mastermind, it's capped at 10 women. Why? Because I think this one-on-one coaching time is so important, and any more than 10, there's just not enough time to be able to coach everyone individually. And, the other piece of it is I love Voxer support, because I think that like as we're implementing things and we're growing and we're in our everyday life, we're working our business, we come up against these things and it's like, I need help right now, right? But my call is not until next week, Thursday, right? And so I've always offered my clients one-on-one Voxer support as part of masterminds or one-on-one, whatever it is. Because that gives you that one-on-one time in a private place, but it also is approachable for everyone, right? Like, cause I don't want to spend hours and hours and hours, I don't know, just doing a lot of things when I can be really quick and efficient and offer these other ways, right? That's going to be super impactful. And so I felt like I had so much clarity on that this morning. And so it was so interesting though, because it's like I had all this clarity this morning, and like I shared about some things, and then after I had shared about this because I did a live on Instagram, I've created a new series called Brains and Gains. Brains is mindset, gains is strategy, and it's a mini series I've created. And so I actually shared about the Multipliers Mastermind on there, and ever since then, I have felt this like, just heavy like feeling. And now that I think about it, it's probably a mix of low serotonin levels because period's coming, but also a little bit of, doubt coming in, because this is like a big piece of vision, and it's very simple and it's approachable by everybody. Well, my ideal clients is not approachable by everybody because it's not for everybody, right? But and maybe a little bit of spiritual warfare too, because changed women change other people's lives, and the impact that, and like, this is what I said on this training this morning, like, I only gain when my clients are winning, and you are only winning when they're winning. Do you know what I mean? So like, like, in order for all the boats to rise, like, in order for all of us to win, like, if, like, for me to win, like, you have to win, and then they have to win, right? The people that we're going to go out and impact. And so, yeah, so maybe it's a little bit of spiritual warfare also, just of, like, you know, that resistance, that confirmation. But we're along for the ride, right? And it was really interesting too, because I got on a call yesterday with a guy. He's a coach too. He's like a 6 to 7 figure coach, and he has worked with all different kinds of businesses, helping them do that. Super wealthy elite, down to, you know, coaches just starting out, that kind of thing. And we just had such a great discussion, and it was one of those things where it was like, I don't believe in coincidence, and we grew up in almost the exact same area. We have very similar stories of, like, big things that happened in our lives that happened very similarly. And so it was like, it was almost strange, because we were just like, I don't know. Anyway, but he was telling me just about mindset. You know, and so we were kind of like geeking out over that together, and strategy, and we were talking about those things, and, you know, it was like confirmation. And one thing he said, like, he was breaking it down for me too, of like, you know, in order to grow, you need these 2 things, and then in order to scale, you like need these 3 things. And one of them, you know, he was just showing me these like levels of income, which I thought was really helpful. He just laid out that, you know, it really is only like this many clients at this much money, right? And so that was part of the clarity this morning too, because I was like, oh my gosh, like, if I run 2 masterminds, like, and that's $500 a month, which I think is absolutely affordable for my ideal clients, right? Like the women who are successful to a certain point, but are stuck, right? And are just going to continue to grow their paycheck from working with me, right? Like, just 2 masterminds capped at 10 each, that's already hitting my first target of 120K, right? So, like, it was just like that level of clarity of like, okay, that feels really easy to me. And I think that is what actually started like the heaviness today, of like, because I've got underlying limiting beliefs butting up against new beliefs when it comes to success and ease versus hard work, right? And like, I think it triggered something in me that is deeply rooted, right? That said, you have to work hard. And when I coach, I don't feel like I'm working hard. Like, I love it so much. Like, it gives me joy. It brings me life. And it's not that I'm even teaching. Most of the time, I'm simply asking questions, right? And facilitating like that deeper work by being able to recognize good questions to ask that actually, you know, help people to pull the information out of themselves, right? And like, that brings me life, like, and I love it so much. And so I think that that's where I'm having this disconnect, because I have this underlying belief that I'm working to rewrite, and it's butting up against this new belief that I've rewritten, that success can come with ease. And so when you look at that and your tendencies are to disassociate and self-sabotage, right? Like, you can see how, like, here we are. Okay, now I'm aware of this. So what am I going to do? And, you know, and there were some pieces of like, okay, I'm just going to, you know, give myself a day, like I've said before. But because of what I've got on the line, like, I don't want to do that. And so there were some hints of like, okay, I feel kind of like some shame is coming up too, if I were to like check out and just binge Netflix all day, because there's a new season of Love is Blind is out. It just dropped yesterday, and I'm like, I love that show, you know. And it's not to say that we like can't watch those things or engage in those things while we're working towards our goals, but if we are in a push time, like, we got to keep showing up, right? And we got to be consistent and be able to recognize. And so just being able to recognize, like, and create that awareness around your tendencies, and like, your stories and being able to identify them. Like, this is the power of coaching, you guys. Like, it just because we can't see a lot of times, because I've been trained to know these things, it is a little easier for me to self-coach, but not always. And so that's why I still continue to work with a coach. And I have a coaching call with my coach tonight, 9 p.m. because she's in Australia, and 9 p.m. is like, oh, that's so late. But yeah, it's just, I just wanted to let you guys like have a little peek behind the curtains of, it's not all sunshine and rainbows over here for Chelsey. These are things that I am struggling with that are feeling heavy for me, but also to give you hope that like these things are whirling around our head for a reason, and this resistance is for a reason. And there are simple tools and techniques we can use and actions we can take in order to keep moving forward towards our goals and our dreams, even and especially when we don't feel like it, but understanding why, like, where's the feeling of not feeling like it coming from, right? Because if it's something we love to do, where's the disconnect? Where's the misalignment here? And, is it a hormonal thing? Is it a how I've fueled my body thing? Is it a sleep thing? Or is it something else that's going on? And in this case of talking through it with you, I've got some beliefs that are contradicting. They're not congruent at this time. And so, like, this is a process I'm going to have to keep working through. And so I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep doing my inner voice readings throughout the day. I'm going to keep listening to those balancing audio frequencies. I'm going to keep exploring, like getting stuff out of my head onto paper and exploring it. And I'm going to keep doing the things that I know are moving the needle forward, which is connections, building relationships, pouring into people, helping to educate, adding so much value. It's ridiculous. So anyway, so if you found this encouraging today to know that you're not alone, and there's like so much more to it than just not feeling like it, but you want to accelerate your own growth, there are two things you can do. Well, three things. I think the first one is, maybe like four things, okay? So I told you about the Enneagram. Find out yours. Find out what it looks like in a time of stress for you so that you can recognize that and be aware of that. The second one is do an AO inner voice scan. I can do those now because it was so helpful to me. I told you I signed up for that same service, so now I'm like doing it all the time as an app on my phone. So if you want me to do that for you, then DM me Chelsey_Noel, and I will do that scan for you because it's been so helpful for me. The third thing is, go to Clifton Strengths Finders and figure out what your top strengths are so that you know how to build your business in alignment and what actions can take. And then from Brains and Gains today, I said, if you send me your top 5 Strengths Finder results, I will send you a customized embrace and avoid list for activities to build your business. And then the last thing you can do is join my Multipliers Mastermind. Like, it's going to be awesome. I'm very excited for this. I am going to let people join as they sign up. Like, I'm not going to open closed doors for this time. I want to fill both cohorts of, 10 max. I'm capping it at that. But I want people to be able to join as they want, right? And then we're all going to be together in there for, everyone's going to get 12 months in there, and it's just going to be an amazing, experience that's going to continue to maximize and compound and accelerate your growth, because you're not doing it alone, because there's power in community, right? And then you're not trying to figure it out, like what's going on between your ears. You're actually getting tools and techniques and live coaching, plus Voxer support as you need it, and so much more. And if you want if you don't want to get your Cliftons, you don't want to pay for it because you got to pay a fee for that, and you don't want to, do your inner voice scan, or you need it done more frequently, I do all that for my clients. So that's actually a part of my one-on-one clients. Like when they come in, I do all that for you. Like I give you access codes and help you to do the scan, or I do the scan for you. That's all included, because I think that that's really important if we're going to build a business that's in alignment. And yeah, so I would love to see you there. And all these links are going to be in the show notes. So if you're feeling like you want to just go binge Netflix, I will watch some of it tonight, but I will make sure that all of my other things are done first before I do that. So it's not that this is not about hustle. This is about understanding what's going on between our ears, so that we can show up and move in the direction that we're aiming for, right? And to not cop out, to not self-sabotage, to not self-destruct, right? Or let ourselves off the hook so that when we don't get the results that we want, we're like, well, I didn't really try. I watched all that Netflix, whatever, right? How often do we do that? This is about follow through, keeping the promises we made to ourselves, but not just ourselves, but our families and everyone else around us and the people that it's our duty to impact and support and help in the way that we've been called in the business that we're in, whether that's helping them with products or coaching or, digital guides and courses and, whatever it is. We're offering solutions to people's problems. We're helping them solve their problems so that they can show up as their best self in whatever capacity that is, and make an even bigger impact. And that's why we're called multipliers, because it's not just about us. It's not just about 1 + 1. It's about 1 times however many. I was just thinking about math. 1 times anything is itself. So 1 times 5 is 5, right? But that's still more than 1. So take that as you will. Math is not my strong suit, but I've sure been having a lot of practice with my 7th grader and her algebra. Thankfully, it's all coming back, but it is a challenge for me to explain it. I get it. I walked her through my process of I just talk out loud to myself and I get rid of any information that I don't need. And then I talk out loud to myself until I'm like, oh, this is this and this is this. And then I write it all out, and that's my process. And she's like, yeah, I don't get it. And I'm like, I don't know. Try talking to yourself. It works for me. Take care, guys.
Thanks for joining the Chelsey Holm podcast journey. If you've enjoyed challenging the norm and embracing growth with a twist, share the love. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep defying expectations and keep leaning into who God made you to be.